Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic time here at this channel. All right, great intro once more. Today we're going to be going into the 80s. This is growing up in the 1980s. 16 things that made childhood awesome. I grew up in the 80s, so let's just get into this.
If you grew up in the 1980s, you know it was a time like no other. From cranking up the volume to your favorite MTV videos, to spending hours at the arcade playing Pac-Man, to rushing out of bed for Saturday morning cartoons, and carefully crafting the perfect mixtape. It was
You guys remember mixtapes? I remember mixtapes. That was the coolest thing ever.
a decade that gave us memories we'll never forget. So let's rewind time and relive those golden days with the things that made childhood awesome. MTV launched in 1981, and just like that, it turned music into a visual experience.
MTV, man, that was a great network. You know what else was a great network? It's recent, or it was a great network. I don't know what happened to it. Vice. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Vice, but Vice is something that I think would be similar to MTV these days, except it kind of went a total different direction than I thought it was going to go into. But when it did come out, I thought it was awesome, just like MTV.
Still remember the first time I saw the video for Sweet Child O' Mine. It felt like the whole world stopped for those few minutes. Suddenly, your favorite songs weren't just on the radio. They had music videos with iconic visuals that stayed with you long after the song ended.
And remember, do you remember I remember, you remember it would have like little little comment things that popped up in the video? I thought that was tight.
MTV gave us a front row seat to the 80s music scene, with artists like Madonna and Michael Jackson lighting up the screen and shaping pop culture in real time. And we'll get into those legends in a bit. But for now, MTV was the channel that made music a non-stop part of our daily lives. Saturday morning cartoons. Now that was the highlight of the week. Scooby-Doo, Smurfs, He-Man, Transformers, you name it, it was there. The second that NBC
You named like all my favorite cartoons.
or ABC Peacock flashed on screen, you knew it was go time. No DVRs, no streaming. If you missed it, you were out of luck till reruns. And let's be real, we all tried to convince our parents that watching Super Friends counted as educational. Those mornings were pure magic, simple, silly, and so good. Remember when these round-faced dolls with their adoption papers caused complete chaos? Moms lined up for hours. Kids begged endlessly.
Remember Garbage Pail Kids or something like that?
All for that magical moment of unboxing. The sweet vinyl smell, the carefully chosen name, and the way everyone swore they were real. The clothes, the accessories, even those questionable yarn hairdos. People adored every little detail. Because in that moment, holding your very own Cabbage Patch Kid, it wasn't just a doll, it was a childhood treasure. When the Nintendo Entertainment
Was that Topanga from Boy Meets World?
System dropped, it was a game changer. Suddenly,
This was a game changer. I remember having this, and I remember having Atari. I had the Atari. My cousin's dad, my uncle, right? He was overseas, and he would bring back like bootleg stuff. Yes, bootleg stuff again, right? And he had an Atari, and you could, on the cartridge, you could put a chip, and then you could play that game, and it was cheaper to buy the chips.
your living room turned into your personal arcade. Kids everywhere were glued to their TVs, blasting through Super Mario Bros., Zelda, and Donkey Kong. The 8-bit graphics might seem basic now, but back then, they were a whole new
That was the game right
world.
there. Duck Hunt.
Of course, our parents set a timer to limit how long we could play.
Anyone remember the VCRs that had a remote with the wire? Like the wire was on the remote. I know today it sounds a little bit strange, but yes, there was a wire.
But every minute was gold. It gave us some of the best moments in gaming history. And in this video, we'll also take a look at another console that came out a little earlier. One you
Oh, this motorcycle game. Oh, I played this game so much.
probably know well. Pac-Man was more than just a game. It was an obsession. You couldn't walk into an arcade without hearing that iconic tune. The simple concept of gobbling up dots while avoiding ghosts became a phenomenon. Kids, teens, even adults, all trying to get the highest score and maybe even see that infamous game over screen. The yellow circle with a mouth became a pop culture icon, and Pac-Man wasn't just a game, it was part of everyday life. Who else spent hours in front of that screen chasing the perfect run?
I always wanted one of those arcade games like in my room. When I grew up, they had those full arcade games in 7-Eleven. Do you remember that? Anyone remember that?
For us, Blockbuster was the ultimate movie destination.
Yes, Blockbuster. When I heard it was leaving, I was like, "What?
Never seen 10,000 tapes in one store."
Every Friday night, we'd head to the bright blue and yellow store, hunting for the perfect VHS tape to rent. And sometimes, we'd walk out with more movies than we could carry. You could easily spend...
Look at
and sometimes, low store,
look at right here.
hunting for the
In the
perfect
middle, or
VHS
whoever.
tape to rent.
Look at
And
Happy.
sometimes, we'd walk out with more movies than we could
Always a good time going to Blockbuster to find some movies.
carry. You could easily spend an hour just browsing the aisles, trying to decide what to watch. Those moments were a big part of the 80s experience, picking out a movie and having a fun night in with friends or family. Blockbuster wasn't just a video rental store, it was where the weekend began. Michael Jackson and Madonna were the unstoppable duo of the 80s. MJ wasn't just the king of pop, he was the king of cool. His moonwalk on Motown 25 changed everything, and the world couldn't get enough of his hits like Billie Jean.
I thought he was great. I just never could understand like how someone. I mean, people were crying over him, all kinds of stuff, and I don't know. I just never saw myself doing that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you cry over Michael Jackson? Well, today you probably would. That'd be kind of scary movie.
And Thriller. Meanwhile, Madonna was the queen of reinvention. With every new song, look, and attitude, she kept us guessing whether she was singing like
It looked like she was wearing a fedora. I called it a Fandora in the last video. Okay, I was wrong. I don't know. And I don't know. I might have got something else mixed up. See if you guys could figure it out.
a virgin or material girl, she was always one step ahead.
It's okay.
Together, they dominated the airwaves and set the tone for the decade, leaving an indelible mark on music, style, and pop culture that we still feel today. Before streaming and binge watching, we had the mighty VCR. Getting your first one felt like unlocking a new level of freedom. You could finally record your favorite shows or rent a movie and pause it. No more waiting for reruns or racing home to catch something live. And let's not forget the classic Be Kind Rewind sticker on every rented
I hope you
VHS tape.
rewound. I did.
Friday nights at home with a stack of tapes
Okay, there was once or twice where I forgot to rewind, okay? But I forgot. Man, there's flies in here. But guess what? That's going in here because I'm not gonna edit it out. I have the door open, okay? This is like, you know what? No one's even complaining.
from the video store. That was peak comfort in the 80s. When the Walkman came along, it was like getting your own private concert, anytime, anywhere. Suddenly, you weren't stuck listening to whatever was playing on the radio. You had your own mixtapes, your own music, right in your pocket. Whether you were riding your bike, mowing the lawn, or just trying to tune out your siblings, those foam-covered headphones were your escape. It made music feel personal in a way nothing else had before. This little cube showed up
It
in
was
the
the
early
coolest thing
80s
ever.
and instantly became the puzzle everyone had to try. You'd sit for hours twisting and turning.
I've never gotten one of these right. Or I don't even know how to do it. I've turned it a few times. I think I've got a few sides solid, but that's it. I've never gone. I was like, you know what? I'm done.
Hoping to get all 6 sides lined up.
I can do it.
No, you can't. No one can. It's bullshit.
No, I'm pretty sure I can do it.
No, you can't.
Some kids could solve it in under a minute. Those were the legends. The rest of us either faked it
Anyone else remember it was a movie about a boy and he goes to like video game competitions? I thought that was, I don't know why that just came in my
by
head.
pulling off the stickers or gave up halfway
Again.
through and used it as a paperweight. It wasn't just a toy, it was a challenge, a trend, and for many of us, a test of patience we never quite passed. There was just something special about making a mixtape in the 80s. You'd sit by the radio, finger hovering over the record button, waiting for your favorite song to come on, hoping the DJ wouldn't talk over the intro. It was like crafting your own personal soundtrack, with each song perfectly capturing a moment in time. Anyone else still have their old mixtapes stashed away somewhere? Let me know in the comments. Back in the 80s, if you needed to make a call, chances were you were looking for a payphone. They were everywhere. On street corners, in gas stations, and outside stores. No texting, no instant messaging. Just a coin. And
Basically, just like if you wanted to get sick, you know what I mean, just go to a payphone.
a moment of waiting.
Think about how many germs, you know what?
Sometimes
There's probably germs
you'd find-
everywhere, right? Don't they say that the kitchen has the most germs?
Yourself digging through your pockets
Did you
for
know
enough
that?
change to make that call.
Is that true? I think it is.
And let's not forget
All for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a professional at anything. I'm just here kicking back with you.
how awkward it was when the person you were calling wasn't there. Still, those payphones were our lifeline, giving us a way to stay in touch when you couldn't be home or didn't have a landline. Wrestling in the 80s was pure excitement, and Hulk Hogan was the larger-than-life hero we all looked up to. We were obsessed. We'd watch him rip his shirt off, flex those muscles, and all secretly hope we'd grow up to be just as strong. He made it feel like good always won in the end, with that signature, "What you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you?" The WWF was packed with wild characters, flashy outfits, and storylines that had us glued to the screen. But for us kids, Hogan was the man. The Atari 2600
I remember when I found out that wrestling was fake, I was like, what? Are
was
you
our
kidding
first
me?
real taste of home gaming.
I was crushed.
Sure, the graphics were far from
I stopped
realistic.
I basically stopped watching it after that. I'm not gonna, I was like, it's fake? You kidding me? No more. Done.
Think simple shapes and pixelated
Yeah, it's cool, it's entertaining, but I was done.
colors, but that didn't matter. It was all about the thrill of playing something new. Games like Space Invaders and Pac-Man pulled us in, and we'd spend hours trying to get that perfect high score. It was a time when video games were an exciting new frontier, and every joystick movement felt like an adventure. For many of us, the Atari 2600 was the start of a lifelong love for gaming. The Smurfs were everywhere in the 80s. These tiny blue creatures lived in mushroom houses and got into all sorts of mischief, led by the wise and caring Papa Smurf. Every Saturday morning, we'd tune in to watch their adventures, hoping they'd outsmart the evil Gargamel and his cat, Azrael. The Smurfs weren't just a cartoon. They were a world of imagination, filled with quirky characters and heartwarming moments. And let's not forget about that theme song. If you were a kid back then, it's likely still playing in your head right now. Polaroid cameras were a game changer in the 80s. Before everyone had a phone with a camera, getting a photo instantly was like magic. You'd snap a picture, shake it for a few seconds, and then watch as the image slowly appeared in front of your eyes. It wasn't just about taking pictures, it was about capturing moments that you could hold in your hand right away. And even though digital photos rule today, there's something special about those vintage instant prints. If this video reminded you of the good old days, there's plenty more to explore on the channel. Feel free to explore.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a great time today. I hope this took you back real quick. It's a quick video, and you know what? Smile. Pass a smile. Let's all be happy. Let's all remember these days. And if you weren't born then, it was a good time.